All right. Well, since it's gonna start recording before, oh man. Anyway, up early. It is Thursday morning, and it ain't that chilly back here. We ain't got them crazy ass temperatures to deal with today. I think most of that stuff is gone. So get back here in the washroom and get my legs to moving on my little exercise bike here. So we're gonna do a talking Texans. Probably a short one. I don't know. Depends where I start rambling or not. What I have nothing to really ramble about. It's going into the divisional playoffs where the Texans going up to Baltimore, and it's basically the same as wild card. Everybody's picking Baltimore to win, which they should. It's the same thing in wild card round. Everybody picked I'd say 95% of the little analysts or whatever pick the Browns. Excuse me. And that was the right choice. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to put your money down on it, that was the right choice. If I had to put my money down, I would probably pick the Browns. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I'm also a Houston Texans fan, so I watch the games, and I also knew that this wasn't the same Texans team from a couple of weeks prior. So a lot of people, I watched a lot of podcasts. You know how Google is. Hop on YouTube, you watch one show about football, and then they just flood you with all kind of shit. And I end up watching some podcasts from people up in Ohio, you know, the Cleveland fans, and then I end up seeing some from some Baltimore. I think I watched one in Baltimore. It was just what popped up on my little suggestions, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. I'll watch it. They talking about the Texans. Nobody had anything really bad to say about the Texans, but they were also not fully informed because they're fans of their teams, and the only thing they know is C.J. Stroud. Yeah, he the quarterback. He gonna get it. But I'm like, C.J. Stroud can't do nothing if the rest of the team ain't performing right along with him. So, especially the defense. While they will acknowledge, the general rankings of the defense and stuff like that, and blah 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 blah. It's all C.J. Stroud, and I'm like, that just comes along with being a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? You have to just take it like that. I'm like, C.J. Stroud ain't out there playing defense. You know what I'm saying? He's doing this thing on the offensive side. He's doing what he's supposed to do, but he ain't out there playing defense. So you can't just say C.J. Stroud is the Houston Texans. And even sometimes watching the press conferences and stuff like that, they be like, C.J. Stroud this, C.J. Stroud that, C.J. Stroud this. I'm like, there's some grown ass men out there. They want, at the end of the season, when it's time to settle up, see what's up with these contracts and where they can go to make the most money, they won't be giving no shits about C.J. Stroud. You know what I'm saying? They won't. Only people gonna be caring about C.J. Stroud is the people that got longer term contracts and gonna be here. Everybody else gonna be like, fuck out of here. But anyway, as far as the game, I'm gonna be going for the Texans. The first game they had, first game of the season, you know what I'm saying? No offensive line. I mean, they had offensive line. It just wasn't good because I think more than half of the starters wasn't out there. They were injured. All the people that were supposed to start. were injured. So yeah, you got that. Yeah, your makeshift offensive line, and that in itself will just ruin shit. Ain't gonna say much about the defense in that game, but you know, defense can only do so much. Defense can only do so much. I don't. That was the first game of the regular season. I don't even remember back that far, but you know, it was a loss, but I don't think it was like it was 25-9 or something like that. If I'm remembering what I heard correctly, but I don't remember it just being some just fuck off game like Cleveland or fuck who else beat the hell out of the goddamn Texans. Cleveland, and then I know the Jets, and I think most of their other losses was just like, you know, the usual shit during the season, you know, one possession game, some shit like that, which falls into their favor, or at least gives them a better chance than people generally would. Is that all their games were close games. They generally play to their competition, which is, like I said in my last video, was a bit of a downfall because they played down to the Jets, who had a good defense, but that was a bad weather game. I didn't even want to, just looking at that game, I didn't even want to watch it. It was, watching a snow game or some shit like that is one thing. Watching a game that's just straight up in the rain is just miserable. I don't even want to be out there. I don't even want to watch it. I don't even want to watch it. I'm like, And then they couldn't get nothing going that game, and then CJ got hurt, and it was just like, whatever. But it's going to be a good game. I think everybody had a chance to improve over time. The team was able to gel. They was able to fine tune their schemes, like you say, the play calling. It's a little better. You know, a lot of folks, especially casual fans, just act like CJ Stroud is out there calling plays and, you know, running the whole offense. He executes what people on the sideline tell him to do. Those are the decision makers. His job is to execute what they tell him to do. Initially. That shit don't always work out, and then you got to be able to blah, blah, blah. But anyway, play calling has gotten better because there was a bunch of times where I'm just like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I think the play calling, last play calling game I had a real problem with was Tennessee. But they had a whole different quarterback, and they had Case Keenum in there. I'm just like, is Keenum that much different where you can't call your regular offense? You know what I'm saying? Because it was obvious that they just ran a whole different thing with Case Keenum in there. It was just like, if you got to do all that, then you got the wrong backup in there. You know what I'm saying? You could have put Davis in there, and Davis can run the same off. You could call the same plays. And people, I already know how people are. They be like, Davis, whatever, fuck you. But you can put Davis Mills in there and generally run the same offense that you, the same game plan that you would run with CJ in there. That's how you want your backup to be. You don't want to put a backup in there, then have to run screenplays and just dink and dunk shit all over the place because you don't think he can throw the ball downfield. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I say they won that game, but it's the play calling. You know, Case Keenum does what he does, you know, to the best of his ability. He's backup quarterback for a reason. But, goddamn. I'm like, shit. You got to do all, you come out there, you a whole different team. You're not even running your offense at this point. You doing some other shit. And once the playoff starts, and later on in the season, you see the Texans break out on offense. And you're not seeing the same plays over and over again. You be like, oh shit, all right. I hadn't seen them really do that. No, they make another big play. Boom. I haven't seen that. These plays look different. You know what I'm saying? Of course they're gonna have some of the same type of plays, whatever. But you can look and tell if you're paying attention that they done opened up the playbook. So there's that. So the play calling has gotten better. So the offensive coordinator has improved. Defense is the defense. They've been pretty consistent on what they do. Whether good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Good and bad. They've been pretty consistent on what they do. Which for the most part is good. And the thing about it is, even before this year, when you get other people that come in, folks just step in, and it ain't no real big deal. It ain't no real big deal. It just, I still got question marks in my head about Shaquille Griffin. They cut him. I was like, I thought he was playing pretty goddamn good. I'm like, shit. That could have been a numbers game for all I know. You know what I'm saying? Because he not no-name type of person. They might have to cut him for money reasons for all I know. And then, but he was, shit. That's generally somebody you want to try to hold on to. You know what I'm saying? And then you got, what was it, Tavier Thomas, somebody had been there and kind of on the field, and you ain't really know, but I hear other people saying stuff, but it's just and then I don't remember what game it was where he had a bad game with like some penalties and stuff like that, and not too long after that he was gone. And I was like, I guess you don't want to be your name to be heard too much. I just noticed that he was always out there on the goddamn field. So I'm like, name always out there on the field. I ain't hearing his name. So yeah, once I started hearing his name, he was gone not too far after that. So shit. And so they, and they always moving motherfuckers around. When you follow the team online and other shit, and you get all the little updates, roster moves, and all kind of, man. They be, I'm just like, oh man, I'm just like, being on the roster is not even, I guess that's an accomplishment or whatever, but you ain't, unless you at the top, one of them motherfuckers that's making millions, your ass be on and off the goddamn practice squad like it and shit, and then those post practice squad people get cut. They get released. Like it ain't nothing. It's like, okay, somebody get hurt. Like we just lost a receiver. Noah Brown is on injured reserve, so he gone. They gotta fill that spot. They sign a receiver to the practice squad, and bam, they go a defensive tackle, release from practice squad. It's just like that dude probably out there working his ass off, just doing whatever. A wide receiver get hurt and he get cut, and it's just like, what can you do about that, man? It's just like, and it's like that. I done seen people get cut, get released and signed, and released and signed off of. I'm just like, but can't really worry about that too much. As a fan, that's just football. That's been going on since long before I was even aware of it. So, whatever. Ultimately, it ain't got really much to do with the game because that was our wide receiver that they just signed to the practice squad is not going to be on the field. But my thing is, as long as the offense is running and the defense is holding up decently, they got a chance to win. It's Robert. I'm thinking. I'm saying here. I think I'm dozing. I guess Robert Woods is playing. So at the you got Robert and Nico Collins at the receiver. Your tight ends are good. You know what I'm saying? Your tight ends are good. And then there's the other two receivers that end up in the game. Mechie and Hutchinson. Mechie is basically a rookie. It's his second year, but he's basically a rookie. Hutchinson's a rookie. And I've seen them get action. So I don't feel bad about. I mean, if they starting, then that's bad news. But they gonna be in the game. You gonna get one of them gonna get a carry or a catch or something like that. They gonna be in the game, involved. But a lot of people were saying we had the worst receiver room in the league at the beginning of the season. And was Noah Brown here then? I think he was. But they didn't, I mean, they show you what they think about Noah Brown. Because even with him here, it was like, yeah, they got the worst receiver room in the league and blah, blah, blah. And they didn't know nothing about Tank Dell and shit back then. He was here, but, you know, rookie. They didn't know what he was going to do once he got on the field. And, but Tank ain't here, and they still doing it. I mean, you can still run your offense. I was like, well, shit. John Mechie is one of those smallish type of guys with a little speed or quickness or whatever. I mean, you could plug him in that spot. But they had Tank there for a reason. You know what I'm saying? He was out there with John all through training camp and all that other shit, and he was a starter, so he was started for a reason, but it's like still, you could plug guys in. You should be able to plug guys in and run through your offense. If it's a scheme, it should be the scheme. The way that I be seeing it should just be the scheme. Because, I mean, it is also the player too, because the player has to be able to interpret shit on the field. Especially the way they, when you see people play against the Texans, and it's like, why is this dude wide the fuck ass open? You know, and that's been like Texans football for the longest, and that's just football in general, because everybody runs a different defense, but everybody runs the same defense. That's why the quarterbacks got to be able to read defenses and shit like that and see what they doing. They run this hole's gonna be here if you blitz, and where the holes is gonna be, and vacuums and all that other kind of stuff, and it's just like it's all the same, but it's a little bit different. It's a little different, but it's all the same. That type of shit. All your people that get out in their routes got to be able to read whether to sit or push. And you run it, you stop, whether the safety is coming down and not, you just take off, try to run and get on top of him. Or if he's sitting back, you just stop and sit in the open spot in the zone. And all that type of shit. Should be teaching that. So all your receivers should be able to get out there and run that. But I have some kind of what's that? I don't know the word. Goddamn it! I'm peddling and my brain ain't working right now. I feel good about the receivers that's in there now. Sometimes it just with Mechie and Hutchinson, you don't see that extra with them. That's the only thing. If you throw the ball right to them, they'll catch it. But I don't see that savviness with them that you see with a bunch of other receivers when they come to getting out there. It's just like everything, when I see them do shit, it's just like, it just looks like me out there sometimes. Just like, man. So, yeah, but long as all that stuff is going, I'm not really worried about it. The running back shit, I'm not really worried about it. Running game ain't been all that this year. But, like I said, they know something I don't, because, Pierce who everybody thought was gonna be the starter ain't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he ain't. And it ain't like it ain't like they platooning either. It's like Singletary's in the game. Singletary's in the game. If Damian Pierce get in the game, you gonna miss it. It ain't like I'm out there counting snaps and shit like that. But I seen Damian Pierce. Yeah, he was in there for one play. He got to run for about a yard and then out of there, which is how it's been the whole season. You know, Damian Pierce get in there. They run him into the fucking wall. It's just that his plays just right into a fucking wall. Ain't no hole or nothing there for him to get through. And then he out the game and Singletary's back in there. But I think Singletary has a little bit more lateral agility than Damian. And that's probably what they're looking at. He can get through the holes and he fight through tackles and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But when it come to lateral movement, he running, poop, and he got a scoot. He gone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's scooting, he out to the edge. So, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. If something happened to Singletary and they got to put Pierce in there, I don't feel bad about that. If they got that Ngumbawale guy in it, fuck that. Nope. Shit has gone horribly wrong if he in the game. Or horribly right. Like the Cleveland game, he was in there running back for a play or two at the end where they put Davis in there. And I've seen him last year. I've seen him in the game playing running back. That dude had put a bad taste in my mouth last year against the Dolphins. And they losing 30-0. They're 30-0. 30-0. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's before halftime. It's like 30-0. Texans score a 1-yard touchdown. They get down there. Texans they run him. Ngumbawale get a 1-yard touchdown run. Like, dude, you losing 30-0. You get a 1-yard TD run. You fucking dancing in the end zone. Your stupid ass on the sideline. The fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Just ever since then, I'm like, why is that dude on the team? Because I mean, he don't, other than a special teams player, you know, you got that shit this year where he was the emergency kicker, and we ended up winning that game. So I was just like, I mean, it's a good story for some shit that happened, but I'm like, I don't know. Special teams player, just let him stay over there. What else? Ain't really much else I can talk about as far as the Braves until the game come and I'm watching the game. It really ain't. I'm not no analyst, so it's just, but what else? Since just talking Texans in general, they had a thing I saw this morning was a headline, and that's what I do. I read headlines. I won't read the article, but I read the headlines, and they're like, fans are angry, or they use some kind of word that NBC cut the Jesus reference from the beginning of CJ Stroud interview. And I'm like, great. I'm like, great. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those people that's like, keep that to yourself. Somebody asks you a question, and the first thing I got to give thanks to, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, come on. Woman didn't ask you that. Man didn't ask you that. Well, they asked you something. Well, such and such, what do you think about such and such that happened on the field? First of all, I want to give thanks to, you know, and then I seen another, I think Tank Dell is like that too. There's probably a whole bunch of people, and that's not nothing new. It's not nothing new. I don't see why. I don't know why NBC would cut it. If they feel like I feel, I see why they would cut it, because it ain't the only time I've seen excerpts where they just went straight to whatever they was asking them about. And I didn't see that little intro where you gotta is obligatory religious reference. And that's the face I make when every time. That's why, when they do it, if I'm watching the game and then after the game they had a whole thing where they interview the player, I turn that shit off. You know what I'm saying? I do. I'm just one. I don't care, dude. Keep that to yourself. And I know you're supposed to. And I'm not a Christian, so you know what I'm saying. People might feel some kind of way about that. I don't give a shit. But it ain't like if I was out there and a lady come up to me and ask me something about what happened on the football field. I'm finna be like, I'm not a Christian. I don't care about y'all's religious beliefs. Blah 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 blah. Well, I was running through my progressions, and you know what I'm saying. Ain't got nothing to do with the question. Ain't got nothing to do with football. If that's your religious belief, that's your religious belief. You go believe that. You know what I'm saying? And these days, how stuff is, stuff got to be homogenized. Everybody ain't Christian. Everybody don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? And if NBC, a big broadcast company like that, decided to cut that out, it's probably just as many people pissed off that that they had to hear that. The people that found that they cut it out. You know what I'm saying? That they cut that part out. And like I said, it ain't nothing new. People have been doing that forever. But it irritates me now. For some reason it irritates me now. I'm just like, yeah. Yeah. Because they had there was another article. I read the headline. Didn't read the article. I just read the headlines. I'm vision impaired if y'all don't know. So I see the headline. I'm not going to go in and try to see all them little. Nah. I read the headline and it was like, it said something about Texans players not being shy about their religious thing and blah, blah, blah. Basically what people are talking about now. And I'm just like, come on. And I've seen it myself even before I saw that article. It just, not that I've seen two. I've seen a bunch of I've seen it from other players, not just on the Texans, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this ain't nothing new. But I noticed I said Tank Dell was, somebody asked, I did an interview with Tank Dell, and he spit that stuff out before. They didn't ask you that, man. Didn't ask you that. They ask you a football question. You come out with some religious shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh. Man, it's a lot of other people on that team. They get interviewed. They go to church every Sunday with their families and praise and do all this other stuff. Somebody asks them a football question, and the first thing come out their mouth is the answer to the question that they ask you. It's not, I want to give thanks to my Lord and Savior. If I get fired. If I was an interview, I'd be like, I'd be like, so on that play, what was going through your mind on that play where y'all scored the 76-yard touchdown? And I gave him the mic, and he was like, first of all, I'll just be like, nope. Nope. Didn't ask you that. I will get fired on the spot. I get fired on the spot. Like, nope. Didn't ask you that. Ask you about football. We didn't ask you about your religious belief, bro. Ask you about football. Can we keep it there? Ask about football. That's the state that we in right now. I really can't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? It's irritating, but you know what I'm saying? I do what I do. After the game is over with, I just don't watch. You know what I'm saying? I just don't watch the shit. I don't, after the game is over, I got the results. Ain't no use of me sitting there watching that, those player interviews, where they, on the field and shit like that. Move on to the next game or whatever else I'm gonna be doing for the rest of the day. I don't have to sit and watch, so it ain't no use of me getting super angry about it. So If you watch the game, if I watch this game, and at the end of the game, win or lose, they end up giving an interview or something like that. And first of all, I want that's what I'm gonna do. Sit there looking at my screen. I'm going I can't help it. That's what I do, man. Didn't ask you that. Oh shit! I'm gonna drop my drink. See, that's what I get. That's what I get. They say God don't like ugly. I guess I shouldn't do that video about fat chicks then. That's running through my head right now. No, don't do it. Something bad gonna happen. But that's probably it for now for my talking Texans. Whew. I'm tired. Like I say, game time, 4:30 Saturday. Some of the Ravens fans feel disrespected because they playing at 4:30 Eastern and not at night. They feel disrespected because they the 1 seed. They think they should be. The fuck does it matter? You know what I'm saying? What the fuck does it matter? So, I will catch y'all on the next one. Ah, man, my booty cheeks is burning right now. Woo!